Well, good morning. I've just been asked to say a few words about how I came to know Jesus for myself. So I was born into a Christian family. Both my parents are Christians, and they took me to church right from the start. It was what we've always done as a family. But I think it just needs to be very clear, and the Bible's very clear, that being in a Christian family, having Christian parents, you cannot inherit Christianity. That didn't make me a Christian. And as my childhood went on, throughout my childhood into my teenage years, that became more and more apparent that this wasn't something which was personal to me. I didn't have a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And as I got into my mid to late teens, I was always very happy to go to church as a child. I had good friends there. I enjoyed going to church. But as I got to my late teens, as soon as those things stopped being the case, as soon as I perhaps stopped having as many friends in church, and since I had the chance to make a decision for myself, I decided I wasn't interested. So I stopped going to church. Around the age of 17, I stopped going to church, and my life began to reflect that of any other teenage lad, really. So from the age of 17, I got very much into drinking. So 3 or 4 nights a week, I'd be out getting drunk with my friends. My life began to revolve completely around Cardiff City Football Club. Still a Bluebird, but that was my life. I loved Cardiff City. Would travel around the country watching Cardiff. Relationships, all of these things. My life, as I say, very much was in line with what most young lads of that age would be like. I had a great group of friends. I was really enjoying life. And I was very proud, really, of the fact that I didn't need God. I pushed God out. Everything that I've been brought up to know to be true, everything I've been taught, I wasn't interested. It wasn't for me, and I was proud of that. And that went on for about 3 years. When I got to the age of 20, my dad was a pastor, and so I used to go to church sometimes, every now and again. It was his job to preach, so I'd go along to support him. And I remember going to this one meeting. It wasn't my dad preaching, actually. There was a chap called Paul speaking, and he was explaining that each time you hear the gospel, each time you hear the good news about Jesus Christ, it's like God is knocking on the door of your heart. And each time you ignore it or reject it, it's like you're refusing to open the door. And what Paul said from the Bible was that one day God will knock on the door for the last time, and you will reject him for the last time, and you won't actually have another chance to respond. And I didn't let on, but that's really struck me, made me think, and I carried on. But so I believe that God had started a work in my heart at that point. And a few months later, a bit out of the blue, really, I went on a Christian camp at the age of 20, and I just remember this middle of the week. I'd gone there very determined to be true to myself and the fact that Christianity wasn't for me. But there was a chap called Alan Rees speaking, and on this one occasion, he just spoke about the love that God has shown for us in Jesus Christ, in that despite all of our filth, all of our sin, he loved us so much that he sent Jesus into this world to take the punishment that we deserve. And after that meeting, everyone was quiet. God had clearly spoken. I just remember sitting there being absolutely humbled that despite the way I've been living, the filth, the sin that I had been displaying so clearly in my life, that despite of that, God was willing to speak to me in this way, to give me another opportunity to respond. And I just knew that I needed to ask him to forgive me for my sin. And I went to speak to Alan, and I'd said, Alan, I think I need to respond. I think I need to come to God. And Alan said, well, I should think so. Everything you've done, your dad's a pastor, you've been living the way you have the last few years, you should be ashamed of yourself. But it's not too late. He'll still forgive you. And Alan knew that was what I needed. I didn't need an arm around my shoulder. I just needed to know that actually, my sin was serious, but that God was still willing to forgive me. And I did. I went and I responded. I asked God to forgive me and to be my saviour, and he did. He forgave me, and he's changed my life. And now he is the most important thing. and he has been faithful to me in so many ways. And it's wonderful to live my life knowing that I am a child of God through Jesus Christ.